Hello everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play Myst. I am your host MeleeWizard, and the final age that we have to go through is the mechanical age. And honestly, I don't really think I even need to take notes for this one, because getting to this one is pretty simple compared to some of the others. But I'll write it down anyway. So 240 and 221. Alright. So, I think I might have mentioned this before, but the mechanical age, I remember being the first age I had ever beaten when I played this game as a kid. And, so it wasn't just me playing this back then, it was, my mother was interested in the game too. Though, says I figured everything out before she did. Thing is, even back then, we actually had the game came with a journal and such, and that's probably where most of our notes were in, which is probably why I don't have them on hand now. Anyway. Right. Go ahead and grab the book. Just for those who want a bit of light reading before we move on here. Oh, and that one's a pretty short one. Alright, so first thing it referred to was time, which we happen to have a clock right here. And it said 2:40. So just turn the hour hand and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2:40. And that brings those up. And this is the one last marker switch that we hadn't activated yet. Okay, so now we have to get this to 221. So in order to do that, dang it. I thought it would stop on its own. Just gonna go ahead and reset it. So when you're there we go. So with each one, I believe the left one moved the bottom one in the middle, and this one moved the top one in the middle, but if you hold it, it still keeps moving the middle, which is probably how you go about it. And that gear just turned, which probably means that the gear over here has turned as well, since all these miniatures seem to have an impact on reality. And yes, indeed. I don't know why I went down there. Here we have the final age. A floating fortress out on the ocean. And right away we have some switches here that we can't really do anything with right now. Yeah, dang it. So this place is relatively straightforward. You got all these chambers about. You're basically just going in a circle around the this place. Well, that's neat. Doesn't seem like it accomplishes anything, but it's neat. Yeah, you got a little mechanical bird. Let's see, is this anything? No. Oh, okay, I had to click to get in there. So, we've got wine bottles. What is this? Cirrus, your greed sickens me. Your desire for wealth and plunder is never satisfied. I will instruct my subjects not to pay your new tax, and you know they'll listen to me. Regards, Akinar. Okay, and... Yep. That's the red page. In a room with a bunch of, gold coins in it. Seems like the appropriate thing. And that clock does not match the one out on Mist Island, not that I would expect it to. And there's something, but go ahead and pay a visit here. Uh-huh. First off, what do we have here? Fortress Rotation Simulator. Okay, then. So, with the left switch down, the right switch does nothing. Aha. But with the left switch up, we have the means of rotating, apparently, this place. Well, there's the blue page. With a cleaver and a cage. I know I can... Yeah! That's something. Lots of poison and an electrified cage and all sorts of interesting implements here. And we make a way around here, and yep, we've made a full circuit. So, anything here? No. How about back here? No. But we've got ourselves a button. That lowers... Ooh. Okay, so we've got more rotation. Haha. Well, we rotated something. And it looks like we got access to something in there. Looks like it's yet another elevator. And got up, down, and the middle. Okay. So, what do we have here? Whole lot of gears and such that I probably don't want to get myself gummed up into. But nothing offhand. But if we hit the middle one, it's on a delay. Because there's stuff up there. So that's the real gimmick of this. We have to rotate this place to get further clues that are on the outside. but you can't see the rotation while you're doing it, which is what the simulator's for, to try to see if you can finagle the timing. But looks like I did a quarter rotation like I wanted to. So the second ones are those two symbols. And looks like I need to do another quarter rotation to get to there, which is probably where the other half of the combination is. Alrighty, dang it. Thankfully, we don't have to do much else, just have to get back up here, which thankfully doesn't take too long. I think that was enough for a quarter rotation. Let us find out. Yep, looks like it was. And the other two symbols are those. Alright. And it looks like I'll have to do a full half rotation to get around, to get back. Because that quarter point has nothing. Okay. I think you can see why this was probably the first one I'd figured out, because there's not really that many moving parts here. Aside from the building itself, naturally. I think that was enough. If it wasn't enough, it was not by much, but we'll find out in a moment. Ah, wrong way. No, it wasn't enough. Just short of getting that second quarter movement. So I wasn't worried about it not being enough. About it being too much, rather. Nope, that wasn't enough. I believe that was. I was watching the gears moving when it. If it just settled back where it was, I knew it wasn't enough. But when it kind of jumped a bit, that's when I knew I had it. Haha. Alright, so. Well, that's that one. That's that one. There we go. And that brings that down, and there's our way back. Yep, not a long process. But since this is the last page, we should be getting some interesting information, perhaps from Cirrus here. Let's see what he has to say now.
Finally returned. I owe you a debt of gratitude, for you have nearly released me. My name is Cirrus. I trust that from your explorations you've become convinced that my wicked brother Achenar is guilty, and I am innocent. It is I who am wrongly imprisoned here. Imprisoned by my father. I don't know who you are, or how you came to this island, but I assume you must at least know something of the books. His father was a master of the books. He wrote hundreds, all describing and linking to the fantastic places and ages which he had discovered. The room in which you now stand was our father's library. It was here in this room, on this island named Mist, that he housed most of these books. But such a waste. By now, you have surely discovered that Achenar has burnt and mutilated most of these books. Why? Our father was always watchful of our exploration. We grew up under his strict supervision. But when we came of age, he gave us unbridled access to the Mist books. He began to leave our adventures more and more unchecked. Unsupervised as we were, my brother began to become disturbed. He began to take more from the Mist ages than he had given. Soon he gained a twisted pleasure from the conquest and destruction of the other ages. It was horrific. His thirst for destruction. But alas, even I discovered his insanity too late. He had completely destroyed all of the Mist ages but 4. I wasted no time. In warning my father, I thought he would recognize Achenar's guilt. But in a fit of rage, he imprisoned both my brother and myself within the pages of these books, designed to hold us until he could judge which of us was guilty. To discover the truth, our father embarked on one final journey. However, he has never returned. I can only assume that he perished along the way, leaving me, an innocent victim, trapped forever. But now, you are here to release me. Listen carefully. You must find one more page and I will be forever free. There is a book on the shelves. This library, which is mostly burned, but has a few pages still intact. It is the last book on the middle shelf. Find it. This book is filled with a variety of patterns. Find pattern 158 and recreate it on the door of the fireplace. This will bring you to the last red page. Bring that page to me, and I will finally be released and able to reward you, of course. Ignore the blue page. That page finishes my brother's book. Chills me to even think what would happen if you were to release him. There is another warning. Where the red and blue pages reside, also resides a green book. If you touch the green book, you also will be imprisoned forever. Our father gave us this same warning long ago. I suggest you follow his advice. Go now. Soon be released to me.
Ha-ha. So, pretty much all this time, Achenar has accused Cirrus of killing Atris. At this point, up until now, Sirius hadn't even mentioned the possibility of Atris being dead. It's just he treats it as a possibility as opposed to a certainty. But let's see what Akinar has to say. Be right back.
Hello, I'm Akinar. I'm glad to see that you've returned to help me escape from my wrongful imprisonment. He was Sirius who did this to me. Sirius, my wicked brother. Do not listen to him. I warn you. He's a liar. Do not be persuaded by his evil lies. Do not release him. He killed my father. He will kill you. Began when my brother Sirius began to lust for riches. He stole from the Aegis of Mist. He hoarded riches for himself. My father slipped away his watchfulness. My sick brother secretly pronounced himself king. King of the Aegis of Mist, he said. He began to look upon me in disgust. His lowly brother hated him. And then Sirius began to destroy the Aegis of Mist. He burned their forest. He tore down their structures. He flooded their lands. He murdered their inhabitants. He destroyed all but 4 of the Aegis. Of course, I had to warn Father. When I finally found him, there was Sirius also, talking cleverly. The lying tongue of a serpent. He'd convinced Father that it was I who destroyed the Aegis. He convinced Father that it was I who was greedy for wealth and plunder. And as Sirius dealt the final blow, he tricked Father into believing that I was the murderer. But Sirius did not deal as fast a blow as he planned. His father died a slow death. He at last doubted my brother's clever lies, and so in dying, Father imprisoned us both, unsure from which of us the blow had come. I swear to you what I say is true. Release me. You must release me. My brother is a deceitful liar. He deserves punishment. I only wish vengeance for my dear father. His murder. Believe me. You must only recover 1 additional page to release me from this prison. It's the easiest to find. Go to the bookshelf that's in this library. On the far right side of the middle shelf, there's a burned book, which is different from the other burned books. This book is filled with patterns. Find pattern 158. Mimic its design on the panel in the fireplace. Doing this will bring you to the last blue page. Remember, don't take the red page. Only the blue page. Return quickly to me. And do not touch the green book. It's a clever trap to imprison those who have not been warned. Do not be tempted, or you will rot and die, imprisoned as I am. I tell you, if you follow my instructions, it will be well worth your while. I promise you that. Go. Go.
So, regardless of whether you collect the red pages or the blue pages, they will both point you to the same thing. And the book in the middle shelf, sure enough, we've got pattern and such. And the pattern for number 158 is, along with the path through the Selenetic Age mine shaft, is also the one other thing that I had notes on prior to this. And before they had said anything, I bet you didn't even think there was anything in this fireplace, did you? So let's see. spins us around, and there's the green book and the red and blue page. I am going to leave things off here. Join me next time when, using save shenanigans, we'll be seeing what each decision gets us. So until then, this is MeleeWizard, and have a nice day.